Hey everybody, this is Zach from Board with Friends, and we're going to be doing another unboxing video today. This one, it's a little special to me because it's another Transformers trading card game, but this particular box is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive of the Retro Blaster vs. Soundwave set. Now, this version of the set is currently, as of this recording, still available on HasbroPulse.com. That's where I got it. It goes for $50. There is going to be a retail version with newer artwork that will be available in stores or online for much cheaper. I don't know the price right now. But this particular version was a Comic-Con exclusive. I'm sure they'll release it at other conventions too, they usually do. But I normally don't go for convention exclusives unless I can get them for really cheap. But this particular one has a special place for me because I really like the cassette bots, particularly anyone who's seen me online on games or on the different discussion forums and things. I usually use the name Steeljaw. That's just because I always liked the cassettes, and he was one of my favorites as a kid. So having this retro version of it was pretty cool for me, and I said, you know what, if I'm going to splurge on anything in the trading card game, it's going to be this. I also ordered the Omnibots, which are available on Hasbro Pulse as well, but they haven't come in yet, even though I ordered them at the same time, which is odd. But when they come in, we will talk about those too. But for now, let's look at this packaging for it. Now, I love that they did basically a retro packaging designed off of the original Transformers packaging from the 1980s, with that grid pattern in the background. They did that cool versus thing that they used to do, usually on the Japanese market for Transformers. I'm not sure how many of the Hasbro packages had a versus set, but either way, Blaster versus Soundwave, it's a match made in Primus, the Allspark, whatever. Basically, these two guys, they deployed cassettes from their chests. They turned into radio devices. Cassettes, for you kids, are how we used to listen to music back in the 80s and early 90s, using magnetic tape. But I always loved the idea of one larger bot who could deploy the smaller bots. It was just a really cool idea. This set gives you, unlike other starter sets where you got 40 card decks that you had to split between two players, this one gives you two 40 card decks, so 80 cards in the battle decks total, and it has exclusive cards for Blaster and for Soundwave to use against each other. So basically you have a full team here, you don't have to change anything. But you are allowed to use these officially, as far as I know, in the main game. Oh, sorry for the glare there. And you can customize the deck as much as you want, but those special cards that are made just for Blaster and just for Soundwave, you're going to probably want to put those in the deck. But taking a look at the packaging here, yeah, we got the nice retro artwork from all the box art from the original guys. When you flip the cassettes over and when you transform Soundwave and Blaster, because there is no retro artwork for their alternate modes, I was going to say vehicle modes, when there is no retro artwork for their alternate modes, they did it in a style that was reminiscent of that. So if we take a look at the side here, we'll look at Soundwave sides first. He gets the cassettes of Ravage, Buzzsaw, and Frenzy, and Frenzy is blue for those who like that debate. On the back here, we have some nice old box art. This is the kind of stuff that they used to put on the old packaging for Transformers. And then it gives some details on what you're getting in the set here. And like I said, they did do new versions of the alt modes for Blaster and the like. But basically, much like the Metroplex set, Blaster and or Soundwave is going to have their cassettes underneath them, and when you flip them to their robot modes, you will deploy one of those cassettes, just like Metroplex did with his minions, like Six Gun and stuff like that. And then as the cassettes come out, now you have more figures, more characters out there. This set here lists everybody. You're going to get Steeljaw, Ramhorn, Eject for the Autobots, Ravage, Buzzsaw, Frenzy, like we saw there. And then it just basically it comes with an extra set of rules for the game. You could play a whole game just with this. You don't even have to buy the rest of the game, which is pretty cool. And we look at the other side here. We've got my man Steeljaw, Ramhorn, who's also one of my favorites, and Eject. Surprised they didn't do Rewind, because he's very popular since the More Than Meets the Eye comics, but it's nice to see Eject get some love. And at the top here, just some nice cover there, and that. Overall, nice looking packaging. I have to complain that I'm afraid to open this because it, just like the other box sets, it's probably not going to get to go back together very well. I'm going to do my best. I am going to open this thing, obviously. I'm doing a video on it. I don't know if I'm going to get the regular version or not. Maybe I will and just do it as a giveaway. This might just be my set. The collector in me is like, no, don't open it. Keep it mint. But the guy who likes to play the games and also believes that you should open up toys and play with them and let your kids play with them, I'm going to open it anyway. But I am going to do that off camera, so we're going to transition over because I'm going to try to save this packaging because I might try to put the set back in and store it in there because I don't have a lot of great ways to store this game right now. I got to get some long boxes or something. But we'll be right back after I pop this thing open. Alright, we managed to do that with minimum damage to the box. And we're just going to take off the plastic tray. And we'll take a look at what we got inside here. So, we got our full-size character cards of Soundwave and Blaster. And nice retro artwork on this one. He's listed as a super rare, which I guess is kind of true since this was a convention exclusive. But really, the mass market version, you're going to be able to buy it anywhere. It's the same exact card, it's just different artwork. So anyone who doesn't want to splurge on this particular one with the retro artwork, you're going to get the exact same set with the mass market one. But Soundwave here, he's listed as a leader, a specialist, 4 attack, 2 defense, and 15 health, which is pretty nice. And when you flip this to this mode, deploy a mini cassette from under this to the battlefield in bot mode. When you do, look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it. Your opponent puts that card on the top of their deck. So you could, basically, you're spying on them, which is thematic to Soundwave, and you can take a card that's probably going to be useless to them and put it at the top. So you wouldn't want to put, something if you're about to attack. You're not going to put a defensive card or a white card at the top. You might want to put an orange card or a blank one, which will allow you to kind of stem their defenses, which is neat. And when you flip him over to his alternate mode, I keep wanting to say vehicle mode, he is 0 attack, which does make sense, 15 health still, and 2 defense. So his defense stays the same. Your starting star limit increases by 1 for each mini cassette on your starting team. This starts the game with all mini cassettes on your starting team under it, which is interesting. I'm going to look at the stars limit on the cassettes. I wonder if they exceed 25, and that's why they did something like that. Or this will be an interesting way to add in some starred battle cards, or just add in an extra character. We'll see what happens. But that's pretty neat. It doesn't really do much for flipping, other than you want to flip him in order to deploy. So you might want to, I hope there's some rapid conversions or something in that deck. And you could combine that with some brainstorms as well. So, I mean, I can't really see a reason to keep him in vehicle mode other than for the flipping portion of it. But he is a 10-star character, so we got 15 stars to work with. Alright. And continuing on, we'll look at Blaster next. So Blaster, 5 attack, so 1 more than Soundwave. He's a little bit stronger, but he's got a little bit less defense, it looks like. Yeah, Soundwave had 2 defense. When you flip to this mode, deploy a mini cassette. Yep. When you do, you play the top card of your deck. So you can just flip him, you deploy the mini cassette, and you get to play whatever is the top card of your deck. I mean, that's also useful. Kind of the polar opposite of what Soundwave does. I like that. And, of course, nice looking artwork there from his original box art. And that one also looks really cool. I like that. Your starting star limit increases by 1 for each mini. So the same exact thing. This starts the game with all mini cassettes on the starting team under it. So he's the same stars, he's the same ability in his alt mode. Yeah, I got a feeling that these starred character cassettes are going to add up to more than 25, and that's why they did that. Which is weird because they made the game. They don't necessarily have to do that. Alright, but we'll take out this little tray insert here. And let's take a look at the Decepticons. So we've got Ravage. Ravage has 3 attack in his Puma mode, 9 health, and 1 defense. He has Pierce 2, and each of your characters that has 10 stars or more has tough 1, so he can give tough 1 to Soundwave when he's out in that mode. Nice. In this mode, he has stealth. Enemies attack others if able. When you flip to this mode, one of your characters gets Pierce 2 until end of turn, so he can give Pierce 2 to anybody. Pretty useful, but he has no attack power, so there's definitely a reason to move him to cassette mode when he's not the attacker. I like that. And cool looking artwork. And now we'll take a look at Buzzsaw, the more underrated of the Condors. He took out Omega Supreme once. He's pretty cool. And I always loved his artwork. Let's see. He's got 3 attack, 1 defense, 9 health, so same as Ravage. When this attacks, you may play a blue weapon. Interesting. So hopefully we got some blue weapons in that deck. Presumably we do, built off of this. But that allows you to get some more upgrades on your characters. And when he transforms, 0 defense, 0 attack, 1 defense, stealth, which makes sense. When you flip to this mode, you may move a weapon from one of your characters to another one. Alright, so moving things around okay, you've attacked with this guy, you want to move the the upgrade over to this guy who's about to attack. Cool. Buzzsaw, you will be useful. I like that. And if I can get this out, come on. And we'll take a look at Frenzy. And for some reason, Frenzy was cassette type down, up. So we'll start with that. 0 attack in cassette mode. Yeah, same exact stats. Stealth, when you flip to this mode, your opponent reveals the top 2 cards of their deck. You may have your opponent scrap those cards. You may have them scrap those cards. Interesting. 5, 10, 15. Oh, they add up to 15, so that's 25 stars. So you have potentially 3 stars to play with in your deck there, and I can see on the top here there's some starred cards in that, so that's why that makes sense. Alright, let's see, what does he do in his robot mode? When this attacks, enemies can't use tough this turn. Okay, I like that. When it attacks. Alright, let's take a look at my favorite guy, Steeljaw, see if they made him powerful and worth it. He's got 3 attack. They all have the same stats, it looks like, which is a little odd, but that's okay. He's got bold 1, so he gets to flip an extra card when attacking. Each of your characters that has 10 stars or more gets bold 1, so the same as Ravage, I think. No, Ravage gives tough, so he gives bold. Okay, so slightly different than Ravage. And then his cassette mode. When you flip to this mode, each of the characters gets bold 1 until end of turn. Flip 1 more battle card when attacking. So Ravage oddly gives defense, and Steeljaw gives attack, which is interesting for Autobots versus Decepticons, but I like Steeljaw, so I'm going to be cool with that he's the attacker. Let's see here. We got Ramhorn. This was, I think, the first cassette I ever owned. Him and Eject, I think, were the first ones. Because they came in the same package, if I remember correctly. Anyway, 3 attack, 9 health, 1 defense. When this defends, you may play a white armor. Cool. So, going on the same vein as Buzzsaw, except he's going to do white armor instead of blue weapon. And then when we flip over, when you flip to this mode, you may move an armor from one of your characters to another one. Cool, makes sense. He's a rhino, armor, it's thematic. I like it. And then we'll pop this guy out. We'll take a look at Eject. Always the goofiest artwork on Eject. Those stubby arms. Anyway, when this defends, enemies can't use bold this turn, which, if I remember correctly, he stopped them from using tough. Yep. Alright, and then when he transforms, when you flip to this mode, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may scrap them. Cool. So, basically, similar themes on both sides for the Autobots and Decepticons, but, you know, one leans more towards attacky stuff. They just switched out the terminology on each one. Interesting. I like it. Definitely goes well with the set for balancing issues. You know, one's going to play different than the other, but you still have the same basic mechanics. All right. So let's take a look here. We've got, I assume this is Blaster's deck. Come on. Pop this open. Last time I tried to do this in front of the camera, I knocked it over, so I'm doing it behind the camera. There's no magic back here. Alright, so we've got a... Oh, neat. Use the retro... Use the retro font on it, too, for the instruction booklet. Alright, so I assume all the new cards are going to be at the top here, but... So we've got Recover Cassette. If you have Blaster or Soundwave on the battlefield, you may put one of your mini cassettes from the battlefield under it. If you do, repair 2 from one of your characters. Then put this card into your knockout area. So you only get to do it once, presumably, which is neat. But it's still a useful card, because it means you can get a little bit of a repair going on, and you could take somebody into your main guy so they can't be targeted. I like that. Then we have the Daring Counterattack, with Steeljaw leading the fray. Choose one of your characters. It gets +1 attack until end of turn for each Autobot mini cassette in your knockout area. If you have Blaster on the battlefield, the chosen character also gets Pierce 6 until end of turn. Wow, okay. That's pretty darn cool, and a nice, end game kind of, or end of game kind of deal. And you got several of those, so you get 3 of those in the pack. Interpret the airwaves. Play only if Blaster was on your starting team. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. That is super powerful. I like that. Nope, yep, that's why. That's a starred card right there. And there are 3 of those in the deck, and it also adds 2 orange pips, which is nice. Let's see here. Obstructive Rhythm. For each mini cassette you have on the battlefield, the upgraded character has Tough 1. So they can keep adding, more defense. Alright, cool. And that is a white pipped card. You get 2 of those. And another Recover cassette. And now we get into the cards that you're probably going to want to change up. So the set comes with, just for the sake of going through this, and I assume it's the same for the other deck, comes with 2 flamethrowers, some force fields, grenade launchers, always useful. I mean, some of these are useful cards. I say that they're generic, but these are cards that are common, and everyone's going to have them if they bought even a couple booster packs. Especially since a lot of these are from, it looks like Wave 1. Incoming Transmission, Zap, Backup Beam. I don't think I've ever used a Backup Beam. Escape Route, Backup Beam, Escape Route, Escape Route. Some handheld blasters. Pep Talk I like. That's a fun card. And Vaporize is a fun card to have. Always nice to throw a couple of those in. And then Basic Combat Protocol. Alright, so this is from Wave 3. Bold One. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that card. Cool. So this is the part of the deck that you're probably going to want to customize a little bit. You could even take out some of those starred cards from this deck and change them out with other starred cards that you might find more useful. But still, pretty neat as a standalone deck that is probably very balanced. We'll find out in a second as we pop open the Soundwave deck. I say Soundwave deck, it's only got one, probably one card that is exclusive to Soundwave, just like there was one card that was exclusive to use with Blaster. I don't really like those single-purpose cards, but when they come in a set like this, it's pretty helpful. Alright, so here is our starred one. We have the Interset Communications. Oh, and it's got black pips, which when you flip this means you get 2 Pierce, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you can see those on camera. They are hard to spot. I wish they had picked a different color just to make it easier. Play only if Soundwave was on your starting team. Draw 2 cards. Choose a card in your opponent's scrap pile and put it on top of their deck. Okay. Again, can be helpful and goes well with the theming of Soundwave and what he does as a special ability. I like that. We have Buzzsaw, Ravage, Frenzy, Attack! Oh, you have to say that in Soundwave's voice. I don't know if I can do that without a ring modulator. Buzzsaw, Ravage, Frenzy, Attack. Yeah, that was terrible. If you have Buzzsaw on the battlefield, draw a card. If you have Ravage on the battlefield, do 1 damage to an enemy. If you have Frenzy on the battlefield, your opponent chooses one of their armors and scraps it. That's pretty cool. So you can play this right from the beginning, but it's going to be more powerful the more cassettes you have deployed. I like that. And you have several of those, so a good chance that you will draw versus flip that. But if you flip it, it's got a black pip, so it's going to add Pierce. I don't think I saw any black pips on the Autobot side. That's interesting. Inner Groove. And Frenzy's getting toasted. Put on mini cassettes only. +1 attack, +1 defense. Nice. Recover cassette, we saw that one. So that's on both sides, I like that. More Inner Groove. And there are the other 2 starred cards, Intercept Communications. I like that. And some more Recover cassettes. So the opposite side here, we've got Blast Shields, Piercing Blasters, Escape Route, Handheld Blasters, some Pep Talks, Scoundrel Blaster, okay, put on Decepticons only. We've seen that one, and there's several in here. A Calculated Strike, a little bit newer cards in this one, interesting. Calculated Strikes, Dismantle, Smoke Cloak, Steady Shot, and, oh, those useless damage counters. Just download the app, folks. Don't use those damage counters if you can help it. I guess if you're just playing as a casually and this is your only set, sure. But I don't know. Those damage counters, I find them not helpful. Neat. All right, so that's interesting that his Soundwave deck has some newer cards here. Let me see if I can get some of these in the shot instead of looking at a plastic tray. Soundwave cards have some of the newer Wave 3 and Wave 2 combos versus more of a Wave 1 and Wave 3 balance with Blaster. But really, looking at these two, I like the way it's going to play. We're going to do a live play of this some point. I'm not sure when. Sean has to... well, he's going to be Soundwave. I'm going to be Blaster. I can't let him play as Steeljaw. It's just not going to happen. And someday I will defeat his Superion deck. Yeah, we're definitely going to do a live play with this so you can see how the 2 sets compare against each other. I don't think we'll make any changes to the decks because I want you to see how they look in the box. But comment below, are you excited for the Soundwave versus Blaster set? Who's your favorite cassette? Mine's Steeljaw. I don't know who everybody else likes. But let us know. What changes would you make to these decks? That's what I'm really looking forward to doing, is tweaking them. But again, I'm not going to do that until after the live play. But I'm really excited I got this. I'm excited for the Omnibots to build a set with them as well. I don't believe there are any differences between this and the retail version other than the artwork. But if I do manage to get a copy of the retail version, I will look at it, and if there is a difference, we'll talk about it. But for now, like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.